Hey guys, welcome to what is going to be the first of a few Halo Infinite Season 2 review videos. This one is the first of the season, going over all the major additions that came with the release of Season 2 for Infinite. Going to go through all the changes, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on them, on the new additions, on the things that have also been taken away, more on that in a minute. I will warn you, there's definitely some positive in this video, but this is not going to be the most kind of sunshine and daisies video, so if that's what you're looking for, then afraid this ain't going to be the video for you. But as always, we're going to start with the good stuff because there is still some good stuff here, without a doubt. First off, the new armor, in particular the armor that is tied to the new Rakshasa, I believe that's how you pronounce it, the Rakshasa armor core, is absolutely fantastic. Major props to everyone who is involved with designing all of the new pieces of armor for this core. It blends like that beautiful, iconic, gorgeous Mjolnir aesthetic with a more kind of tactical, modern military aesthetic, and the armor looks absolutely incredible. I have so many new favorite pieces of armor that come with this core that honestly, I'm really looking forward to unlocking and putting on my Spartan. This core is absolutely beautiful. We've got stuff like flashlights on helmets, NVGs on helmets, which is so cool, radios on shoulders, just loads of cool little details like that, and of course trophies as well. Some of the shoulders are stolen elite shoulder pauldrons, and other ones are just straight up skinned elite skulls, like Tartarus style. This armor is absolutely fantastic, and I love pretty much every single piece of it. The new maps that we got Season 2 as well are honestly, I think, pretty good. I've played a few times on both of them now, both Breaker and Catalyst, and I gotta say, I actually really like both of them. Breaker plays pretty damn well in BTB. I've only played one game of it in BTB so far on Total Control, and I really enjoyed it, quite honestly. It was really fun. Not so sure about Last Man Standing, however, I think that's more of an issue with the mode itself and not the map. I think the map's mostly fine for it, but again, more on that later. Catalyst plays really well. It really does remind me of Epitaph in many ways. It feels like a more casual social map that can at the same time be competitive. It seems to flow really nicely. I love the verticality. Having the 400 doors on there with the bridge in between is really cool. But more importantly, with Catalyst, the aesthetic of this map is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Again, major props to everybody who worked on this map, both in terms of aesthetic and art design and sound design, and also in terms of the actual layout as well. I really like it, but the aesthetic in particular of Catalyst is just immaculate. I absolutely adore how this map looks. Some new, more casual modes like Vampire Ball and Ninja Swords have been added to a new social FFA playlist called Rumble Pit. Obviously, if you played Halo 2, Halo 3, or Halo Reach, you'll remember Rumble Pit. And I've got to say, they've really helped to kind of reignite that casual Halo matchmaking feeling that I've not experienced in a very long time. I'll be quite honest with you, I never expected to feel this way with anything in Infinite Matchmaking, but when I was playing this game today, I was searching Rumble Pit, and I was getting all of these like fun, quirky, more like party mode-esque games, like, for example, Ninja Swords. It really did give me that same feeling that searching casual social matchmaking in Halo 3 gave me, which was a very pleasant surprise. I really hope this game gets more of this, because with how tight and strict skill-based matchmaking is in this game, even in social playlists, nothing feels social or casual anymore. But these modes, they do feel social and casual, so hopefully we get some more of this added to other playlists as well. The cutscene that we got for the Battle Pass and for Season 2 and all that was pretty good, but this is where I'm going to move more into the critical territory, because as much as I did enjoy this cutscene and the kind of story that it's setting up, I feel like it was just a massive missed opportunity. Nothing really happens in this cutscene. It's just a bunch of Spartans talking. Like, they're talking about a really cool event with Hugh Din and Sigurd Eklund raiding this banished camp and having to fight off this AI and escape in a blown-up phantom. Like, that sounds really cool. Why did we not see that in the cutscene? Why were we only told about it? I think it was Marty, it may have been someone else at Bungie, but I'm pretty sure it was Marty, who was always very much in the show, don't tell camp when it came to narratives, and this is the complete opposite. This is telling and not showing, and it's significantly less interesting. This cutscene would have been so much cooler if, when, for example, Eklund was talking to Agrina about what happened, there were like flashes of the events of the battle at the Breaker facility, of Hugh raiding it and then putting the chip in his head with Eratus in it. That would have been really cool to see. But instead, all we got was just Spartans talking and then Eratus popping up, which is not bad, it's just Could have been so much cooler. Could have been so much cooler. And on that same note as well, there are no changes to the Academy whatsoever after this. Like, literally zero. There's nothing, like, gameplay-wise that comes with this cutscene or this narrative. There's nothing at all. Like, I was half expecting some kind of very minor, but just some kind of, like, PvE experience that came with it in the Academy, because the Academy is actually a really cool map. I played through it again this morning, and it's a really big and really cool map that has so much potential, but is just sat there not being used in the tutorial mode. Like, do something with that. Have us walk around that and see, for example, see Hugh on the table writhing around in pain as Aratus tortures him, or see Agrina and Eklund talking to each other, right? That would be really cool to actually see that in the flesh, or just have some, I don't know, PvE mode or something in the Academy. I don't know, just anything to use that Academy space and actually give us some PvE, because this game needs PvE so bad. And there was just none of that. The UI is still so painfully slow to load and unresponsive and laggy and just not enjoyable to use whatsoever. So many things like main UI elements in the main menu, the battle pass in its tiers, challenges, etc. just take so long to load. I have to wait so long when I first boot the game up to even be able to access the battle pass, and then when I do access it, half the battle pass tiers just don't load, they just never load. This was already a problem in Season 1, and yet somehow it's gotten even worse in Season 2. If that's a sign that adding more content to the game is only going to exacerbate this issue, then my god, this is not going to be a fun UI to use in a few seasons' time at all. Now, some of the more bewildering things that came with Season 2 relate to many fun things in Infinite that were cool little quirks that were very exclusive to Halo Infinite, having been completely patched out of the game with, in many cases, with no indication or forewarning whatsoever. So many fun campaign things like fusion coil launching, the flyable pelican glitch, and the tank gun have just been removed. I don't understand why. These things were entirely harmless and could only be encountered if you physically went out of your way to do them. It wasn't like you just randomly stumbled across fusion coil launching, or you just randomly stumbled across the flyable pelican glitch and skipped the entire game. Those things required like conscious searching and an actual path to unlocking. You didn't just accidentally do them. I just find it really strange that you have a game that is severely lacking in fun things to do, so you choose to go and patch a bunch of the fun things that the community have discovered in the game that weren't harming anybody. I'm not quite sure why. One of the worst downsides to this is that this has pretty much just entirely killed the Halo Infinite speedrunning community. The flyable pelican glitch and also the fusion core glitch in particular were like key to speedruns, and you can't do them anymore unless you use a pre-patch version of the game on Steam offline, which means that to speedrun Infinite now, you literally have to do it on Steam. You can't do it on Xbox and you can't do it on the Microsoft Store, you can only do it on Steam, which is silly. This has severely hurt the speedrunning community. This is akin to back in the day if Bungie just decided to patch sword flying in Halo 2's campaign. Could you imagine if they'd done that? Or super bouncers? Or if the kind of Halo 5 era 343 had decided to patch that weapon pad combo glitch that people found in Forge and just never add it as a feature. Just patch it out of the game and get rid of it. I don't understand why this has been done. But don't worry, we're not stopping there. They've also removed other cool things that the community loved about the game. They've removed the curb sliding movement mechanic, and also a bunch of really cool and incredibly skillful trick jumps as well. And it's not like they did this by accident either. Like, as you can see here, they had to consciously go through these maps and delete these trick jumps, change the map geometry to make it so they don't work anymore. Which I don't get, because it's not like these jumps were breaking the maps in social games or for, like, lower skilled players, for example. It's not like pros were using to stomp on players, because A, skill-based matchmaking, and B, not even all the pros could even do these jumps, they were that skillful. But that made it so when they were pulled off, they were so satisfying. Removing them, I don't understand it. These things did nothing but increase the skill gap of the game, and had no detriment to, like, lower skilled players whatsoever. I don't get it. It's almost like 343 are purposefully trying to get rid of this game's skill gap, which, considering HCS is such a big thing, I just don't understand it. It's a bafflingly shit decision, and it's made even worse as well by the fact that there was absolutely no forewarning for this at all, much like many of the campaign things besides the tank gun. They never mentioned getting rid of any of these skill jumps or any of these mechanics whatsoever in any article or pre-update patch notes. People just found them buried in the update day patch notes. The craziest thing is that HCS Kansas City was last weekend, 2 days before Season 2 dropped, which was an incredible HCS event that showcased so many of these cool mechanics and jumps so well and proved that they don't break the game, they're hard to pull off, but when they are pulled off, they're really satisfying to watch. And then, not even 48 hours later, they're all taken out of the game. None of this makes any sense to me at all. I mean, it's very clear that time is a resource that 343 are seriously lacking in, and yet, despite that, they still choose to spend what little time they've got removing things like this from the game, like consciously removing things that people actually like about the game that aren't hurting it. Meanwhile, other things like theatre remain completely broken, and also the holographic visor, by the way, still doesn't align properly with Gungnir. Doesn't work with it still. Things like that are still broken, but they still chose to spend time fixing things that people loved about the game that weren't hurting it at all. Okay, fair enough. Moving on, a really cool new fun feature was added with this update, weapon jamming. No, it's not a new mechanic, this is a glitch that was introduced, a glitch in a first-person shooter game, where when you're holding the trigger down, your gun can just randomly stop firing. I'll be honest, it's kind of par for the course with this game at this point. When you go back and look at some of the armors for the Reach Core from Season 1, specifically ones that were locked behind a hard paywall in the store, and even some that just never came to the store, like JFO, it says that they have been vaulted and were unlocked in Season 1. Now, if the only way to get these armors was to buy them in Season 1, and then they just are unlockable forever, they are vaulted forever, I don't know. I'm hoping that that's not the case. I'm hoping that this is just like a weird like tooltip or something, and that they'll be coming back at some point in the future, given that JFO was never in the store. But I just find this whole aspect of vaulting hilarious in a game that 343 said wasn't going to focus on FOMO, and now we're talking about vaulting armors. Oh. Right, moving on to some more gameplay-oriented stuff. I don't know if this is just me, it might just be me, but I've noticed that queue times, in particular for Rumble Pit, Last Man Standing, and King of the Hill, have been really long so far since this update came out. I've had to queue for like well over a minute to get into a game, sometimes even 2 minutes. Maybe that's just me though. Let me know in the comments if you've had the same issue, because it could just be me. After saying that they were going to improve on the challenges, after Season 1 had a bunch of really bad challenges like get 5 Killjoys, for example, it appears as some of the Season 2 challenges aren't really that much better. Some ask for an absurdly high amount of kills in Last Man Standing, for example, which is a mode that you don't get many kills in because of how it's designed. Others ask for a rather high amount of very obscure kills, like back smacks, for example, in Last Man Standing. And then there are just some other ones as well that are also really awkward to get. I just feel like the challenge system in this game is inherently designed to force you to buy challenge swaps to swap out the bad challenges like these. I don't see any other reason why these exist, especially after the feedback that 343 received and also said they were going to act on after Season 1. Having challenges be your pretty much one and only way to progress in any form in this game just continues to be an awful decision. This game would have so many problems alleviated if it just had a progression system. Challenges should be an optional addition to per game and performance and medal-based XP. They should not be the only form of progression. Especially when there's a degree of monetization ingrained into them, that being the challenge swaps. So with this update, we finally got King of the Hill added back into the game, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't like what they've done to it. Like with Oddball, they've changed the game up and they've made it play a little bit differently to classic King of the Hill. I really like the changes they made to Oddball. I can't stand the changes they've made to King of the Hill. So a quick refresher for those who may not remember or may have never played King of the Hill. The way that King of the Hill always used to work is that every second that you spend in the hill uncontested, you get 1 point and it's first to 250. And after, I think it was 45 seconds of like the hill just ticking down in time, it would move to a different location. But now, the way that King of the Hill works is you have to stand in the hill for a certain amount of time until this progress bar fills up, and then when it fills up, you get 1 point for your team, and then the hill moves to another place and you do it again. I don't like this at all. It plays far too much like Stronghold / Territories, 2 modes that I have never liked in Halo. it doesn't play like King of the Hill at all anymore. The bad hills that used to just be like left uncontested and fought over, like for example, top mid on Aquarius, like the equivalent to like top mid on Guardian, for example, just lasts for way too long now because the hill doesn't move until someone captures it. And because it's in a really contested area of the map, that often takes a long time. I had top mid hill on Aquarius last for a long time in one of my games, and it wasn't very fun. And there's no more getting scrap time anymore whilst your team rotates to another hill. So what I mean by that is, say for example, a hill only had 10 seconds left in it and it was going to rotate to another location. What you do is you have one person on your team going to stand in that hill and soak up those 10 points uncontested, whilst the other 3 members of your team would go to the next hill location and begin to like lock down the area and control it before the enemy got there. But that can't be done anymore because King of the Hill doesn't play like that anymore. Granted, they have put classic King of the Hill settings in custom games, but the only King of the Hill settings in matchmaking are the new ones, and I'm not a fan of them. So fingers crossed we get a classic King of the Hill playlist soon, because, I don't know, for me, not a fan. And the second new mode that we have so far is Last Man or Last Spot on the Standing, and this is one that I was really looking forward to, and it's a bit of a letdown, I'm gonna be honest. It feels like a weird combination of gun game from Call of Duty and Battle Royale, but with almost none of the cool quirks that made gun game and Battle Royale so fun. First off, right now, the only map that this is on for some reason is Breaker, and it feels far too big, especially as you get later into the game, and as loads of people start to quit out because they've died. It takes ages to find people, and there's no radar for some reason either, which makes this even harder. And as well, the weapon sandbox in this is really lacking, so because it's like gun game, the more points you get by getting kills, you can upgrade your weapons through the tiers to get better and better weapons, but there's like only 7 weapons in this out of Infinite's like, I don't know, 20 something, 23 weapons maybe? I'm not sure how many, there's barely any weapons in it, and they're like, besides the Disruptor, they're all UNSC weapons. Remember how in gun game in Call of Duty, the last weapon was always like something really cool, like a knife or something, or the ballistic knife in Black Ops 1? Well, in this, it's the BR and the Bulldog. Like, why not have the last weapon be a sword, or hell, even your fist from Academy? I still really want them to add fist to multiplayer, but nope, it's just the BR and the Bulldog is the last weapon for some peculiar reason. Gun game in Call of Duty was so fun because it goes through almost the entire weapon sandbox and ends with a really tough weapon, which makes winning with that weapon against people that have better guns all the more satisfying, and this just lacks all of that. I mean, hell, they could have even added like the campaign weapon variants that are now present in BTB, which is pretty cool. They could have added those to the rotation, but nope. Instead, we got like Sidekick, Disruptor, Mangler, Assault Rifle, Commando, BR, and Bulldog, and that's it. I'll be honest, when I played this last night for the first time, it literally just made me want to go and play Black Ops 1 gun game. That's all I felt the entire time. I was like, you know what? I want to go and play gun game in BO1. And unfortunately, there's no servers up for it on PC, which made me sad. But yeah, I'm not a fan of this. Oh yeah, you also can't search it with friends either, and the same goes for Rumble Pit. Even though they're social modes, you can't search them with friends. You can literally only search Rumble Pit and Last Man Standing on your own in a party of 1. I guess that's kind of fitting with the whole Lone Wolves theme, but I don't know, it doesn't help the social aspect of this game much, does it? And so the final things that I want to touch on are the overall changes to melee damage that came with Season 2. So to fix the fact that the Mangler one-hit beatdown was really powerful, they didn't choose to nerf the Mangler, or put it on maps less, or nerf the Mangler melee. What they did was they flat out nerfed melee damage on every single weapon by like 10% or something, but then only in ranked made it so the BR has stronger melee damage, so it can still be a 2-shot beatdown, but it isn't in regular matchmaking. I don't really understand that. And, oh, these changes also, I'm pretty sure, apply to campaign as well. I don't understand any of this. Nerfing the entire sandbox's melee damage to fix one gun is like launching a nuke to swat a fly or something. It just seems like such an overkill change. I don't know why they couldn't have just like made the Mangler spawn less on certain maps or give it less ammo. I mean, hell, they actually did give it less ammo. Like, give it less ammo or make it spawn less or just nerf the Mangler's melee in particular. You don't have to nerf the entire sandbox to fix one gun. So, overall, I'm gonna be honest, Season 2, not great. Not great at all. To say we waited 6 months for this, and we've got another 6 months to wait before the next season, this is not exactly what we needed. The fact that there's like no PvE experience or anything to come with the narrative cutscene, like literally zero changes to the academy whatsoever, is just strange considering the entire narrative seems to be taking place and revolving around the academy. Like I said earlier, that kind of academy map that links to Livefire is a really cool map. Like, let us wander around it as a social space, or I don't know, just do something with it, because it's a really cool map, and just having it be sat there in the tutorial is wasting something really cool. The population of Infinite post Season 2 ain't looking too great, let me tell you. It barely managed to break over 20,000 players on the day of the update. And then on the Xbox most played list, it's like 12th in America, behind Cold War. Although granted, I'm pretty sure that Xbox most played games list lags like 2 days or something. So it may have not updated yet. So I'd take that with a grain of salt for sure, because it might have not updated yet. But it's not looking too good. None of this is really that surprising though, unfortunately. I mean, I didn't really see much hype outside of the Halo community for Season 2, and even within the Halo community, within like hardcore Halo fans, I saw a load of people that just felt kind of like meh for it, which, I mean, it's not that surprising given that there was barely any content coming with it. Most of it was just bug fixes, and then the update comes out, and it turns out that there's also loads of things getting removed as well, so it's not that surprising. Trying to look on the bright side a little bit here, maybe the population will increase this weekend. Obviously, first weekend after a new season comes out should be like a decently big deal, but I'm not going to hold my breath. We'll have to wait and see. I think ultimately, though, this game is going to be in a really rough spot until Season 3 launches in, when is it, November? A year after the game is released. I think, oof, 6 months of this. We're getting like one narrative event and that other new mode, land grab. And I'm pretty sure that's all we're getting from now until November. So brace yourselves for another Halo winter. I think what it comes down to is the fact that like 90% of the content that this game should have is still missing. And then of course the store's filled with items that you can go and buy. You can buy the Scout helmet for $12, which even if you complete the entire battle pass, you don't get enough credits for. So if you want Scout helmet, well, tough, you're not getting it unless you fork out your credit card, of course. And also the credits that you get from the Battle Pass, you only get those credits if you pay for the premium Battle Pass. You don't get them in the free one, so unless you want to buy that, which, to be fair, I will be honest, I do think the Battle Pass is worth $10. I don't think anything in the store is worth any of its value, but I will say I think the Battle Pass is worth $10. But even then, if you don't buy it, then you don't get any of the credits, so you can't get anything in the store anyway. That's what sucks about this. Like, I don't even care about the price of stuff in the store anymore. I don't care about that. What I care about is the fact that so many things that are being put in the store should be instead unlockable through achievements or challenges or a regular progression system, but instead they take things like Scout and lock them behind a hard paywall. But I don't know, man. I don't really have much else to say, to be honest with you. It's just clear at this point, I think, that this game is not going to be content complete, or at least content parity with like Halo Reach and Halo 4, which is what most people consider to be content complete nowadays. It's not going to hit that point for years upon years upon years. And even then, it's very clear that like the core foundation of this game is very broken and unstable as well, with things like desync and laggy UIs. But I don't know, man. It is what it is. But yeah, that's Season 2. I'm going to get back to work now on my Metal Gear Rising video, which I'm really excited to start working on and get out next weekend, I believe. So make sure you ring the bell, and also sub if you haven't done already, to make sure you don't miss that video, why Metal Gear Rising deserves to be iconic. I'm having so much fun with the branch out content, and honestly, I cannot thank you guys enough for supporting it and watching it. Genuinely, seeing the Zombies video break 100k views, I honestly can't tell you what that means. Like, just making content like that, making like full-on branch-out content is like kind of scary, because obviously it's not what most of your sub base is built on. But to see you guys watching it and enjoying it and seeing the video do so well just makes me so happy. So thank you all very much for watching that content in particular. Make sure you don't miss the Metal Gear Rising video next weekend. And yeah, with that said, let's round this one out here. I want to give a massive thank you to my amazing patrons for the continued support over there, as per usual. And thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you all in the next one.